Hello there everyone, welcome to my channel Clear Normal, and today I'm going to show you how to add your custom wheel models to an image captured in Rocket League. This tutorial basically will teach you how to turn this, which is a screenshot taken in Rocket League, it's from a replay, into this, where I added my own custom wheels, which are these ones that I made in Blender. So I'm going to be using Blender and Photoshop, and this tutorial assumes that you have basic knowledge about both of those programs, so I'm not going to be going over the basics in this. So let's get started. Here I have the wheel that we want to put on our image. So first up, we need a software called FSpy. It is open source and free. Well, that's what open source means, and you can download it in the link in the description below. So you go ahead and open up FSpy, and then you can load in an image. So we're going to load in our image over here, and now what we need to do is adjust these lines to match the x and y axis of the image, or any two axes of the image, and set the origin so we can import that as camera data inside of Blender. So what we need is the x axis or the y axis, it doesn't matter, just any one horizontal axis and the z axis. So let's just set this to minus z. So right now in this image I know that this pillar over here is on the z axis and these lines over here are on the x or y axis depending on the horizontal axis you choose. So I just add these lines over here. You could zoom in a bit, but and here is the dim image button, so it helps a bit, and so you can see through it a bit. So here we have added our z axis, and let's do the x axis now. So here we go. So here we have our basically it's done, but as you can see the z axis is inverted, so we're going to change the z into the minus z. Now it's alright. So this is the origin. We're just going to place it at the kind of center of this wheel over here, and now we are pretty much done. So we can save this file, go to file and save, or press Ctrl S, and let's just save it in the downloads folder as tutorial.spy. So I'm sorry. I think I messed up a bit, but I'm sorry. Yeah. So now let's just close this, and now we go to Blender, and there's in the description there's also an add-on for Blender. So to install that you can go to Edit, Preferences, Add-ons, and just click here and install from zip. Also you need to enable one more add-on, which is Node Wrangler. So just search up Node, and here it is. Just enable this, and let's close this. We don't need anything else. So now I'm going to go to File, Import, and FSpy. Let's get the tutorial.spy over here, and as you can see our background has been set, and we can just now start placing the wheel over here. So what I recommend you to do is press Z and go to the wireframe viewer, or you can toggle it over here and press Alt Z to disable the see-through thing, or whatever you call it. I am not aware of the exact term. And you just start placing your wheel. Remember this, it's not going to be exact because it's we have not made the wheel, this one, according to the exact dimensions. So as you can see here, I have painted this wheel the components of this wheel to this empty, so it's easier to move around. And here's my Reddit. If you want, u slash working underscore imagination 8. So you can check me out there. I post some of my projects and my progress there. So let's just align this wheel one bit. Doesn't need to be perfect because it's going to be covering up the existing wheel. So now we go and we duplicate it on its Y. We select all of this and we duplicate it using Shift D and just move it in its Y axis, so it's a bit behind. Now we can go to the wireframe again and adjust this again. Doesn't need to be perfect, but it's quite easy to place this. Now we're done over here, and now we need to place this field. So now we're going to select this again and duplicate it, and now move it on its x-axis. As you can see, it's quite easier to see through it when we press Alt Z. And I think my text, my input actually is glitched out right now, so sorry about that. I can't re-record this because I haven't gotten much time today. Let's just place it. This one is going to be a bit harder because, and also yes, we need to, this wheel is on the other side, so we need to invert it. So let's just scale it in the x direction and press -1. Oops, I think I must press -11. Right, that's good. Now we can go back to the wireframe and place this wheel over here. Rotate it on a z-axis a bit and smooth it around. I think that is pretty much it. So it doesn't have to be perfect because your SPY camera data is not going to be perfect, but it's pretty good. So now I've already set up the materials for this, and if we just go to the rendered view, it doesn't look very good right now because we haven't added a Hdri. So you will remember a bit of your Rocket League map and just go to Polyhaven. I'm sorry, it's open on another monitor. Yeah, polyhaven.com and go to HDRIs and just search for an HDRI that kind of matches the look of your Rocket League map in which you took the replay from. So in my case, it was kind of neon-y. I don't know if that's word, neon. It was kind of neon. So I grabbed the Shanghai HDRI. Let's just see. Yeah, over here. This one. So I've already downloaded it. So let's just go ahead and add that. So let's open up another window over here. Go to the shader editor, press N. And go to the world tab. Now we go to, or you could just, for easier way, just go press this color and switch it to environment texture, and let's just open it over here. So it's in my project files in the resources folder. Here it is. Now I've added that and the strength set to 1. So that looks, so we can't see the background right now. So we need to go to into the cycle settings, go to film, and enable transparent. And you have your if you have any glass in your tires, just enable transparent glass too. So now we need to add a mapping node to this. Press Ctrl T while when you select the image. Press Ctrl T, and it will add a mapping node. This is because of the node Wrangler add-on. Set it to the object coordinate, and now you can play around with the Z rotation. To we need a bit of a glow over here, as you can see, because if I just I'm sorry, if I just hide this, there's a bit of a glow over here. So we'll rotate our Hdri, so there's glow over here. So I think let's do 180 first, then we'll go from there. I'm sorry, 180. Yeah, alright, so that's better. Now we can rotate it a bunch to get that side glow. Now what we need is, we need to have a HDRI, so that we can, like right now, if we go into the look dev mode and change it to scene lights and scene world, the bottom of the HDRI is brown. It's basically it's basically not what we need. So in the world tab, we're going to add a mix shader node and put it over here. We're going to add another emission shader, or you could add a background shader, doesn't matter much. So yeah, let's duplicate this, and we're going to add a gradient texture over here. So set this to linear and plug the factor into the mixed shader factor over here, and just okay. Now I'm going to control shift click on the gradient texture so I can see it. Basically, I'm going to add a color ramp in between, and crunch these values. So when I plug this into the factor over here and select this, we have this matching over here. So now what we need to do is we need to add a mapping node to this gradient texture too. So press Ctrl T and change it to the object coordinate. Now we're going to rotate it on the y-axis. So just write -90 over here, and we're done. So in the image, the bottom is a bit orange. So let's just go over here and change it to dark orange. That looks pretty good. We're going to lower the strength of our HDRI a bit, and we're going to lower the strength of the background a bit. Okay, now as you can see, we have a glow here too, but we don't need that because there's a fender over here, there's a fender over here. So, and there's a lot of glow over here too, and there will be the car body blocking the light from over here. The shadow is over here, so you can see the light is coming from the top right of the map. So what we're going to do is we're going to add a plane, move it up, scale it down a bit. So now we are going to add a new material to it. So go back to the object shader editor and just add a new material. We need now a mix shader, and we need a transparent BSDF. Let's plug that into here, and now we need another gradient texture. Plug the factor into here, and now change this to spherical. And now we add a mapping node to this and change it to the object coordinate. So now we have a kind of diffused circle in the middle, and in the principal BSDF, just change this to black. increase the metallic to full and roughness to full. I'm sorry. So now we have this, and now we are going to add a color ramp over here. Crunch this in. We're going to change it to B splines to get a more linear. Uh, yeah, that looks good. So now I'm going to just add it over here. Well, the rotating doesn't matter because it's a circle, but I don't know. Right, so just add this over here. So there's no light coming on the tire from over here, where we don't need a shadow or the highlight. I'm sorry. So if you hide this, you can see there's a highlight over here. If it's there, it blocks the highlight. Let's just straighten this up a bit. That looks good. We also don't need a highlight over here, so we are also going to put this over here. Oh, that's better. And now I'm going to copy these and move it on to the next field. That looks about right. So now I'm going to duplicate this again and turn it 180 on the z-axis and move it to this field. That looks good. So now you'll see, if we render this out, we can see things over here. What we need to do is make it so that we cannot see it. So first of all, I'm just going to add a second one over here at the bottom and scale it up a bit. Not much. And just put this kind of over here. That's good. So now we are going to add another mix shader. This is going to make it so that we can't see it in the camera. Add another transparent BSDF, or you can just duplicate this one. Shift D and duplicate. Plug this into here. And now I'm going to add a light path node and plug the is camera array into the factor. So now the camera can't see it, but it still affects the shadows. That's pretty cool. So now I'm just going to adjust this one a bit because I can still see a highlight over here. You can go to the EV to adjust it. That's better. We do not care about this little highlight because that's going to be covered up by the front of the car. And now I think we can render it. Just a second, I think we need to rotate the HDRI a bit again. I'm almost bringing it a full circle. Yes, that looks better. So right now we have this yellowish highlight over here. We do not need a yellow highlight. We need a white highlight. Because in the stadium the lights over here were white. I remember that. So I'm just going to go to edit mode and just select a vertex over here, snap my cursor to it and add a light. A point light, that is. and right now it's too strong, so I'll just go to my camera and maybe take it further and reduce the power to 2 watts. So right now if I hide this, the highlight is yellow. Now I've added a white highlight over here. I'm just going to move this over here also and just do the same to this field. Just add it to the back of it. You can increase the power of this one if you want, but that looks pretty good. So now we just render it out. That's pretty much it. Press F12. Actually no, I need to tweak the render settings a bit first. Oh no, I closed Blender, I'm sorry. Yeah. So now in the render settings I'm going to set the samples to 300 and just disable denoise because I'm going to do that in the compositor later. Also, one thing, let's just move this to the second monitor. In the render passes I have enabled denoising data. You need that. Bring it over here and it's already rendered. So right now let's just move this to the monitor and go to the compositing tab. I've set this up as my own compositing tab. So press use nodes, bring the composite over here, zoom in a bit, and let's just add a denoise node first. It doesn't appear to require much denoising, but we'll still do it because that's best practice too. So it's now, yeah, it's done. So let's add a glare node. So I'm going to change this to fog glow and set the size to 9. I don't think it's going to do much. Let's see. Yeah, there's a bit of it. There's a bit of glow. So I'm going to set the coil to high. And yeah, that's done. So now we can just save this image as and just save it in our downloads folder as wheels.png. So now we got this, and let's just save and close the Blender and bring up Adobe Photoshop. It takes a bit of time to load up, but okay. So now we're going to open our file over here, and we're going to save this as a Photoshop document. Right now it's saved as a Photoshop document. So now I'm going to press Ctrl 0 to bring it up to frame. And now we need to add a wheels. So let's open that. We got our wheels. So we put these here. Just line it up semi accurately for a second. And now we need the car with no background. Hold up. Did I choose the wrong picture? Okay, no, it's not zoomed in. I'm sorry. Please, I keep pressing Controls O instead of Control 0. So now we need to take out this image right here. So how to take this out in the replays in Rocket League? You can select there to be a green screen, and you can change its color. So I've set it to white because if I've had some problems with green, and there's a bit of green highlights over here too. So let's just select the white part. You could go to color and select, but that doesn't do a very good job as there are other white elements in this car. So let's just select these individually. And yes, I think that's pretty much it. So I'm going to go to select, modify, expand, and expand this by 1 pixel and delete it. So now we have this car over here with the background removed out. So I'm going to take it and bring it over to our image over here. And it's the same size, so we just need to align it. You can lower the opacity, and the way you can see it is, if your image is not lined up properly, it becomes blurrier and it gets sharper as it gets lined up. I think that's pretty much it. So now I'm going to save this document. Just keep spamming alt S, doesn't hurt too. And now we'll bring our wheels over here. Let's just bring these to the top layer. Zoom in a bit, and you can adjust these. But as you can see, they don't match the bottom, so they're a bit small. But the beauty of Photoshop is that you can select these individually and just press Ctrl T to scale it up and just adjust it a bit. It doesn't need to cover the whole wheel, as we are going to add the grass over here as seen in the original image. So I'm going to now adjust this one. The SPy thing we did was just to get the perspective right, not actually align the wheels. So that's pretty much it over here. The rear wheel is a bit bigger than the front wheel, so in Rocket League at least, but it's also far away, so it's approximately a bit smaller or the same size. Now I'm going to select this one and do the same to give the same treatment to this one. I think we messed up a perspective here a bit, but that's fine. That looks good. Now what we are going to do is we're going to hide our wheel layer and just focus on this part, and we are going to crop it out. So use the polygon lasso tool, I'm sorry, and just mask the front of the car out and just avoid the wheel. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to start here and speed up this part so you don't have to witness me doing this boring thing. And this is a pretty basic Photoshop operation, so should be pretty easy for you, and it doesn't need to be perfect, but because when it's small like this, it'll not attract too much attention. So as you can see, the topology over here that can help you guide it, because we are not using the lasso tool and selecting it like this because that's difficult, and it's made up of sharp edges only, so it's pretty easy to do that. So I'm going to speed up this part and see you later. Alright, so I have selected this over here, and now we are just going to press Ctrl Shift I to invert the selection. And now I'm going to take this and just delete this, delete the selection that we made over here. Okay. And now if we move it around, okay, why didn't it delete? Okay, so now we have deleted it, and it looks a bit jank, to be honest. So let's just readjust this and move this around. So I think we could have uh, done this better. Let's just do it right now. So because of the white background, there's a bit of glow over here, so we not want to get rid of that. Alright, so that's better. It looks pretty flawless from over here. So if you just zoom in and let's just move this layer on top of over here, so that's good. And now what we need to do is we need to mask out this grass. So that's the more difficult part, to say the least. And we're going to duplicate the background layer, and we're going to go to the magnetic lasso tool because there's a bit of contrast over here, and we can use that to our advantage. So you can just select it, like just keep hovering your mouse over it and it just does the job for you. But you need to select a bit extra because the wheel, the wheel over here, we need to cut this wheel out. So just select a bit of extra, just give it a bit of slack on all sides. Okay, so now I've selected this grass out. So you're going to do Control Shift I and delete it. So now as you can see, the grass kind of covers it a bit, and we're going to solve the color grade thing later. But now we need to do this grass thing for all of these wheels. So I'm going to speed up the process for both of these wheels. You know now what to do, and you can quite easily do it. So just now do your thing, and you need to duplicate this layer again and just move it up, and then you can mask out the grass again. So let's speed this up. Okay, so now I'm done with the masking out the grass thing. I think there's a bit of stuff going. No, I think it's alright. So now we're going to, as you can see, we have added our grass. So now we are going to, where are our wheels? Okay, here they are. So we are going to color correct these. So go to image, adjustments, color balance, and just mess with this till the image kind of matches the rest of it. But I think we can use the neural filters, convert for smart filters. Okay, and no, we can't. So sorry about that. And if you have some basic Photoshop knowledge, you can use one of these to, you know, I think you can make it look better. So that's pretty much it. Now you can, I'm going to speed this part up too. So you do your thing and we'll be back. So now we have successfully completed our project. You can just go to export and quick export as PNG, and we're pretty much done. So thanks for watching, guys. If you like the video, hit that like button and subscribe, and I'll see you next time.